Foul is Fair, Chapter 21, Plans of Attack. Megan moved over to Aisling and settled down, now that she was fairly sure the golems weren't paying the damaged window any attention. She noticed the black mark. The thoughts of mention of iron and Aisling's damaged wings sprang quickly to mind. "Is that," she started, not precisely sure what even to ask. "Just iron burn," Ashley replied. "It barely touched me. It will heal, eventually, when we're out of the city." "So all you have to do is touch it." "Not as bad," Aisling agreed. "But yes, if the iron is pure enough, just touching it hurts. This is sort of like, I guess, if you touch something red hot, which you really shouldn't do, by the way." She sounded like she was speaking from experience. "I'll keep it in mind," Megan assured her. "How's the Count?" The crow cawed, and Megan glanced at him, then back to Aisling. "He says he'll probably be able to fly in a day or two. Maneuvering very well might be longer, though." Lonnie sighed as she went through her pack for bandages. "We only have a couple of days. Most of our food is still in Kasha's chariot." "Oh yeah," Megan said. She looked to Justin. "So you got away from the hounds without someone to distract them?" "Not exactly." "Not exactly someone?" "Not exactly got away. I was brought up that it's better to ask permission than run screaming." Megan looked at Justin for a moment. "So you just asked the giant monster dogs nicely to let you through?" "No, I asked the huntsman." His good hand attempted to help Lonnie hold the bandages as she wound them into a brace for his bad arm. "Tall guy, scary looking, horns?" Megan asked. "You've met him then?" "No, I saw the paintings of the hunt and I didn't especially want to meet anyone in them." "Well, I found him, introduced myself, explained whom I'd served under and who commissioned me, and asked his leave to cross his lands in my own hunt." "And that's not cheating?" "It's the exact opposite of cheating, miss. That's how it's done when you hunt across someone else's land. And I was hunting, after a fashion. And the scary fairy guy with the horns and the black horse and a pack of dogs almost as big, he just said, 'Okay,'" Megan asked. "He granted the request, yes. Seemed like being asked was a bit novel." "Did he give you a ride across the unfordable river, too?" "No, had to swim that." "You swam? But there were rapids, with monster fish and migratory whirlpools." If not for all the effort he and Lonnie were putting into immobilizing his arm, Justin would have probably just shrugged again. "I watched the currents for 2 days to find the most possible crossing point. Fish are the least active at high noon, so that's what I swam. Very hard. And then you climbed through the plains and hills without the dogs bothering you, and then you just heard the song." "What song?" "On the wind, to open the gate." "There's a lot of sound on the wind, miss. I didn't see any way of opening that gate." "But you're in here." "I climbed the fence." "You just climbed it?" Megan was blinking. "Okay, as soon as your good hand's free, I want to shake it," Lonnie said, smiling as she finished wrapping his right arm tight. "But what about the gross, hazy feeling?" Megan could not get over the idea of climbing that huge, disgusting fence. "You've lost me, miss. I take it you're of the fair folk, then?" "Half," Lonnie said. "She's the Unseelie King's daughter." "Oh." Now Justin actually got to look surprised. "Pleasure to meet you, Highness." "Just Megan, please." "Megan, then," he said, a little confused, but offering his good hand to Lonnie when she finished binding his shield arm. "The fence was a hard climb, to be sure, but I'm not, that is, I'm quite mortal. I don't think it was meant to keep humans out. On the other hand, I was definitely not going to get back out with the bad shoulder." "And a couple of cracked ribs, I think," Lonnie said. "Your shoulder was dislocated. Just a little, so hopefully it will heal fast. You won't be able to use it at all for a while, though. So I've got it as secure as I could with the supplies we have." My thanks. Megan smiled a little. Thinking of going pre-med instead of majoring in engineering now? Lonnie smiled back. You canceling art school plans because you sang a gate open? The human's body is just another machine, except when it's not. She looked back to Justin. You're welcome. The boy nodded, still trying to take a lot in. When we've rested, I can guide you to the sword. We'll need a plan, though. Even with one arm, I think Justin should get the sword, Lonnie said. He actually knows how to use one and has the best chance to hurt the golems with it. He won't be able to run much, though, and there's a lot of golems, Megan said. One of us should probably try to get it, and then the others can make a distraction to draw them as far away as we can get them. Once he has the sword, hopefully it will be able to damage them. Agreed, said Justin. They're slow enough that with a working weapon, I think I can best one of them at a time. The problems were the numbers, and having nothing that threatened them. Megan looked toward where Aisling was resting, nestled up against the Count. Are you two going to be in any shape to help with the distraction? I don't want you to hurt yourselves worse. We'll manage, Aisling said. After all, you need us. Megan sat down next to Aisling and carefully, after making sure the bird didn't seem to object, stroked the crow's head feathers a little. Thank you, both of you. I know you really care about my dad. Yeah, well, he's care-aboutable, Aisling smiled, starting to think it runs in the family. And Lanny is such a team player, and you've got to realize the Count really likes teams, hates doing without them. He's attempted murder a few times, but it never worked out. As Megan felt the crow sigh under her feathers, she tried to parse that sentence. Because no other crows showed up to be in the murder? Obviously. Yes, obviously. Lonnie wanted them to all try sleeping at that point, but Megan gave up on that fairly quickly. While none of the Iron Giants ever tried to break into their shelter, the loud metal-on-stone noise passing by every hour or so not only woke her, but kept her on edge until it passed. Each time, just as exhaustion started to push her to sleep, the noise would rise again, bringing her back to paranoid alertness. Looking around, the others weren't faring much better. Justin often seemed the closest to drifting off, but the binding on his arm made any position awkward. Their basic plan didn't help Megan relax any either, particularly with half the group injured. No one was able to come up with anything better than grab the sword and run during a distraction, though they weren't likely to when they couldn't even sleep. At least it was simple. After the passage of yet another golem, after she was sure no one was asleep, and no one looked likely to change that, she finally stood and headed for the window, surveying the city outside. If the Count can fly, we should start moving as soon as it's light enough to see. We need to rest and heal, Lonnie said. We have a couple of days' supplies. Do you feel any better rested? And Aisling is getting worse, not better. Besides, in 2 days we might be healed more, we might not, but I'll definitely be going stir-crazy. It might just have been the sleep deprivation, but Megan could almost feel the city sapping her strength as well. Let's do this. While the teens looked between each other, Aisling spoke to the crow. Finally, the Count tested his wings, hopped a couple of times, and then flew to Megan's shoulder. He says he can fly, but maybe not while carrying me. She looked to Megan. Can I have the left shoulder? Okay, Megan said, picking the pixie up gently. I guess I'm running for the sword then, Lonnie said. You're faster than I am. You've proven that a couple of times. Aisling, the Count, and I will work on the distraction. And what am I to do? Justin asked. Stay out of the way, and Lonnie will get you the sword. Then it will be up to you to get them off of us. I'll be ready.